So we gave the residents an order to evacuate their homes.
Hello, people.
And provided them camps outside the city
hold on.
for them to stay in.
I'm gonna turn. I'm currently listening to.
After that, we proceeded to bomb their neighborhood for several days, nights.
I'm currently listening to the Winter Soldier testimonies that's happening right now in Washington D.C. I've been listening to them for the last 2 days now, and this one the one that's on right now I'm particularly interested in because it's about racism and how racism was used in justifying or allowing the war to commit atrocities. Racism was used as a justification to commit all kinds of atrocities in Iraq. And it was this great opening this guy just gave where he talked about the racism in Rwanda, the racism against the Palestinians, racism, well, he named it in Iraq. He named a few other places, but it was really impressive how he covered, how many different places he covered. So this whole Winter Soldier thing, I wanted to give my thoughts on this because I wanted to get someone else's opinion. Because, okay, well, the whole point of the Winter Soldier thing is that this is supposed to be testimony to what's really going on in Iraq. So the American people are finally going to find out what's really going on in Iraq. And I have problems with this for a few reasons. One, no one I know is watching this. No one I know is even talking about it. A whole bunch of people I know don't even know it's even happening. So I know a bunch of people aren't watching it. And I'm hoping the IVAW will have transcripts of all this, because if they not transcripts, video of all this that I can download. Because if they do, I'll put it all up on YouTube. But it doesn't seem to me like a whole bunch of people are watching this. And two, the people who would be interested in watching this already know what's happening in Iraq. Like, I don't know like particular fine details. Like the guy just said the military would go out and find all the kids and give them all candy, and so then the kids would all run toward the tanks, and that way the Al Qaeda, the insurgency wouldn't shoot the tanks because they wouldn't want to kill kids. So that literally means the U.S. Army used children as human shields. So I didn't know that. Okay, so things like that I didn't know. Not particularly surprised that they did that though. I mean, hello, right? From all the things I do know that they did, I'm not surprised that giving candy to kids and using them as human shields is not a big jump. Okay, so it seems to me that all the people who know already what's going on in Iraq are the people who are involved in this watching this Winter Soldier thing. I brought this up to my mother that this Winter Soldier thing was on. I brought it up to my father too. Neither one of them had any interest in it whatsoever. My father just wanted me to turn the volume down so he could, go look up porn or something, whatever the fuck he does online. And then, but I'm serious though, porn. There's a lot of porn. Porn, whatever. I don't even like porn, whatever. I'd rather have real sex, but whatever. And then my mother, I told her about this, and then her reaction was pretty much, "Oh yeah, I bet it's gonna be something pretty bad. I bet they're gonna talk about bad stuff, huh?" I was just like, what? What are you kidding me? Like, what do you think they were gonna talk about? Handing out cupcakes to people? So anyway, it just seems to me. So I don't really see the point of this Winter Soldier thing. I think don't get me wrong. I think it's good that it happened. I think it's good in terms of the progressive left movement, in terms of organizing major events. I think that's good. But I still think what this all comes down to is we have to ask ourselves, what are we willing to do to really stop this bullshit from happening? And particularly if you're in the military and you know everything the U.S. government does, speaking out is great. But I think we need to do a whole lot more than speaking out. Because clearly speaking out ain't working. And if you're in the military and you have all this training, then I think you more than anybody else should have the knowledge to figure out what it would take to really change the system. So, and this is very they're not talking about anything in particular. They're talking about being against war. All war is bad. We need to end all war. Okay, great, good. Plenty of people agree with that. I'm willing to bet the majority of people on planet Earth have always agreed with that throughout the history of human civilization. Okay, but war still continues, and we're not really addressing the real issues. So I feel like, after watching that clip by Zizek, I really feel like what I like to call Winter Soldier, and I know I'm going to get some criticism for this, but I feel like this is a lot of masturbation. I said it. I feel like this is a lot of masturbation. If you don't know what's really happening in Iraq, it's because you didn't want to know. Okay, I mean, you can go on YouTube and find it out. I mean, 2 million people displaced, 1 million people killed, 2 million people internally and externally displaced, 1 million people killed, kids in Syria and Jordan, all these places now, like 10-year-old kids now being forced into prostitution. Like, if you don't know what's going on in Iraq, it's because you don't want to know. That's what it is, okay? So I just feel like I don't see the purpose of this Winter Soldier thing. I'm not really sure they even had a purpose back during Vietnam. I just recently read a book by Ward Churchill called Pacifism as Pathology, and it's all about how pacifism, or the pacifism, is used by white liberal people to show their discontent with the system, but not in any way to actually put themselves in danger of changing the system or giving up their privileges. You know, so it's a great essay, great essay. Unfortunately, I brought the book back to the library. It had all these footnotes, all these books I wanted to read, and I forgot to write them all down. So I got to go back to the library today and get the book. But he mentions Winter Soldier very briefly, and he mentions how it was a very big hoopla event by the non-violent leftist progressive community back in the '60s, but how it had no effect whatsoever on the war. And I can see it now. I can't see how this would have any effect on the war. Unless these people are really going to do more. Like, if this is just the start. If this thing is the start and it's going to build into something like major, like I don't know, organizing military tactics to put the White House under some sort of military occupation and force George Bush to The Hague to face war crimes. Okay, fine. Okay, that's great. All right. If this is the start of that, then I'm all for that one. Okay. But if it's not the start of that, if this is it, then this is ridiculous. This is just a conference. This is a conference where we talk about what happened in Iraq. Well, first of all, if I really want to know what happened in Iraq, the first thing I'd do, I wouldn't find soldiers who were against war. The first thing I would do is I'd go find all the Iraqis who had their family members killed, and I'd have them all have a conference about what happened in Iraq, since it's their country and all the crap's happening to them. Okay. This is pretty much like, let's say if we were going to have a talk about the Israeli-Palestinian thing, then this is basically like Israelis against the war talking about what they did to the Palestinians. Okay, great, good. But the Palestinians are the ones going through it, and the Palestinians are the ones being the press who know the most about what's really going on, because it's happening to them. And I feel like if anything needs to happen, these anti-war people need to work with, the anti-war Israeli people would have to work with the Palestinians to stop the pro-war Israeli people. Okay, so putting that into this context, the anti-war, which most of the people at this Winter Soldier thing are also predominantly white and male. I noticed that too. Okay, and on the opening statement, this one guy said that he was calling all these Arabs, all the Iraqis, he was calling them Hajis, and then he said a Haji is the same thing as a honky, is what he said. Haji is the same thing as a honky. Okay, well, first of all, Haji is not the same thing as a honky, okay? Haji is the same thing as like a nigger or a spick or wetback, or there's words that are equivalent to Haji, okay? But honky ain't one of them. But he was just clearly too afraid to say the word nigger, I think. That's what I think. And that bothered me too, because that's very liberal, PC. We're having a discussion here where he talked about killing people and seeing mutilated bodies, and he's afraid to say the word nigger. Give me a fucking break, okay? Not like he even meant the word. Not like he's saying he was calling black people niggers. He could have just said the word. But okay. Anyway, that bothered me. But why aren't the anti-war people in this country talking about helping the Iraqi people? That's my question. And it's obvious why, because that's a step they can't go. They can't go, so they won't do it. They won't even bring it up. But that's what needs to happen. These anti-war people need to support the Iraqi resistance. If you really are against the war, that's what you would do. Your thoughts, please. Please share.